Good evening and welcome. Tonight we're diving deep into the mysterious and often terrifying world of poltergeists. The term poltergeist comes from the German words poltern, which means to make noise, and geist, meaning ghost or spirit. This term describes paranormal activity known for its disruptive and often violent nature. Poltergeist activity is unlike typical hauntings. It's characterized by loud noises, moving objects, and even physical attacks. But what causes these disturbances? Are poltergeists real, or is there a logical explanation? Let's uncover the facts together. First, let's define what we mean by poltergeist activity. Poltergeist cases differ from typical hauntings. While traditional ghost sightings might involve apparitions or subtle cold spots, poltergeists are known for causing unexplained physical disturbances. Imagine hearing loud bangs or witnessing objects moving on their own. This is the hallmark of a poltergeist. Many believe that poltergeist activity is the work of a spirit trying to communicate or perhaps even torment those involved. Others suggest it could be the result of psychological or environmental phenomena. But what separates poltergeists from other paranormal events is the intensity and physicality of the activity. Objects are thrown, people may be scratched or pushed, and loud, frightening noises often accompany these events. Throughout history, there have been countless reports of poltergeist activity. Here are some of the most famous cases that continue to baffle investigators to this day. In 1977, a family in Enfield, London, reported a series of strange and terrifying occurrences. At the center of these events were two daughters, especially 11-year-old Janet. The family claimed they witnessed objects flying through the air, loud knocking sounds, and even voices coming from unknown sources. Some witnesses, including police officers, journalists, and paranormal investigators, claimed to have seen these events firsthand. The Enfield case remains one of the most documented and controversial poltergeist cases in history, with skeptics attributing it to a hoax, while others insist there was no logical explanation. Moving back in time to the early 1800s in Tennessee, the Bell family began experiencing what we would now describe as poltergeist activity. John Bell and his family reported constant harassment by an entity. They described loud noises, physical attacks, and even conversations with the spirit, which they believed to be the Bell Witch. The haunting persisted for several years and is considered one of the most well-documented cases of early American paranormal activity. It remains an unsettling piece of folklore that many believe involved true poltergeist phenomena. In 1967, a law office in Rosenheim, Germany, began experiencing bizarre electrical disturbances. Lights flickered, telephones malfunctioned, and equipment seemed to turn on and off by itself. The disturbances were witnessed by numerous credible sources, including police officers, electricians, and journalists. Skeptics argued that it could be due to electrical malfunctions or even psychological influences, but no definitive explanation was found. This case remains a mystery and is one of the most unusual examples of potential poltergeist activity. Paranormal investigators have noted certain signs that tend to accompany these cases. These signs can range from unexplained noises, such as knocking or footsteps, to more dramatic events like furniture being moved, or even people being touched by unseen forces. Investigators often use a variety of tools and techniques to document and understand these phenomena, including audio recorders, video cameras, and electromagnetic field detectors. If you suspect a poltergeist, here are some signs to look out for. Pay attention to sudden temperature drops, strange smells, and the feeling of being watched. You might also notice objects disappearing and reappearing in different places, or lights flickering without any apparent reason. It's important to approach these situations with an open mind and a healthy dose of skepticism, as many supposed poltergeist activities can often be explained by natural causes or psychological factors. However, if the disturbances persist and defy logical explanation, it might be worth consulting with a professional paranormal investigator. Loud knocking, banging, or scratching sounds are often the first sign of poltergeist activity. These sounds can be incredibly loud and tend to happen without any obvious source. Another common symptom of paranormal activity is objects moving on their own. These objects often appear to be thrown, pushed, or lifted by an unseen force, creating an eerie and unsettling atmosphere. This phenomenon can occur in various forms and settings, making it one of the most compelling pieces of evidence for those who believe in the supernatural. Imagine a glass sliding off a table with no apparent cause. You might be sitting in your living room, and suddenly, out of the corner of your eye, you see a glass start to move. It slides slowly at first, then picks up speed, and before you know it, it crashes to the floor. There's no one else in the room, and no logical explanation for why it happened. This is a classic example of objects moving on their own, often attributed to poltergeist activity. Or consider books flying off a shelf. You might be in a quiet library or your own home office, and suddenly, books start to fly off the shelves as if propelled by an invisible hand. These unsettling phenomena are frequently reported in poltergeist cases and are often accompanied by other strange occurrences, such as unexplained noises, cold spots, and even physical sensations like being touched or pushed by an unseen force. These experiences can be deeply disturbing and leave a lasting impression on those who witness them. Although rare in poltergeist cases, some people report seeing shadowy forms or even apparitions. While not as common, these sightings do add to the sense of dread and fear. Witnesses of poltergeist activities sometimes report strange scents. This could range from sulfuric odors to unexplainable perfumes, which appear and disappear at random. Poltergeists are notorious for interfering with electronics. Flickering lights, televisions turning on and off, or phones malfunctioning mysteriously are often part of the eerie experience, leaving people bewildered and scared. Lastly, those who encounter poltergeists may experience physical sensations, such as sudden cold spots. Imagine being in a room where the temperature suddenly drops, sending chills down your spine. You might see your breath fog up in front of you, even though the rest of the house is warm. These cold spots are often localized, making them even more unsettling. It's as if an invisible presence is standing right next to you, drawing the warmth out of the air. The feeling of being touched is another common experience. You might feel a light brush against your skin, as if someone or something is trying to get your attention. This can happen when you're alone, making it even more disturbing. Sometimes the touch is more forceful, like a push or a shove, causing you to stumble or lose your balance, or even scratched. These scratches can appear out of nowhere, often in places that are hard to reach by yourself. They can be shallow or deep, and they sting as if freshly made. The psychological impact of these experiences can be profound, leaving individuals feeling vulnerable and frightened. The fear of the unknown, combined with the physical evidence of an unseen force, can haunt a person long after the encounter is over.